Alright. Hi guys, I'm No1NO's and this morning I'm really excited to introduce to you my new sample pack. You'll have to bear with me because I am not really used to doing these videos, and even though I'm in the studio on my own and no one can hear me, I'm actually really nervous. So when we talked about doing a pack, this was me and my manager. I had a lot of ideas, but really I just wanted to deliver something that was useful to people, producers that like just starting out, as well as more advanced producers. So if any of this is like beyond you, and you're releasing your own tracks, I might just be talking shit, but I am trying to help some people who are not as far along as others. So I just want to start with the artwork. First of all, here's the front cover. You've probably already seen that. We've got the back cover of the artwork. So this is showing what's in the pack. We've got 150 drum loops, 34 sound loops. So that will be bass loops, synth loops, just basically stuff that I've just pulled out of my projects. And then we've got 19 bass hits for you to use, 70 drum hits, which will be kicks, snares, claps, hi-hats, etc. And you've got 17 sound one-shots. So again, there'll be bass one-shot, no, they're synth one-shots, and you've then got 29 effects hits. So again, what I did was try and build a pack that you could near enough just make a whole track, or several whole tracks out of. And I'm going to do like a second support video for you on this, with me using this pack and solely this pack. The only thing that we missed on the pack, or I missed on the pack, was vocals, really, because the vocals, I write a lot of my own vocals, and I work with KP Music a lot, writing vocals. Sometimes I record myself and pitch it down, but they are all my own vocals, and it's really something that, if I gave to you, you just couldn't use. And that's the one thing really I just couldn't give you anything of. I just encourage anyone to write stuff themselves, or sample and affect stuff enough that it's, you don't know where it's from. And yeah, so moving on, the next bit of the artwork, which is the most important bit, and this is why I've done this like this. You'll see more in like the later in the next video, that basically I've tried to set it up just to help you guys, so you can always refer back to this index if needs be, and you know where everything is, and everything's labelled to make sense. And again, going back, this is why I called it workflow, because I've based this really all around my workflow, and you'll see in the second video again how I work and how I've done this to really increase the workflow. I mean, it's really hard. I'm still working, so I only get limited studio days, and I've done the sample pack, we're doing a radio show, so there's other bits to do other than just making music, and it means that I've got to come up with tracks quickly. So workflow is to me one of the most important things, and to learn my own workflow, because everyone works differently. We all use different tools. I mean, I use Logic as my main DAW, and then I use Ableton as a rewire, and I use samples. So again, this has been kind of set up around that, but I mean, you will always probably use a sampler if you're using samples. And again, once I get into it, you'll see. But just to go back, go through what's here again. You've got, this explains a little bit more. So starting at the top here, you've got 19 bass hits. They're all printed at 127 BPM, and I'm going to open up a project and show you why that's important in a minute. And they're all printed in C, the bass hits. Again, the reason for this is because if you drop it into a sampler, I personally use Contact, but if you drop it into a sampler, it's always gonna put the root note on C. So if I was to give you a bass note that was in F, it's going to be the wrong key on your keyboard when you drop it into the sampler. Obviously you can change that in the sampler, but why do I want you to waste time doing that? The idea of this pack is to speed things up for you, quickly get good sounding tracks. So yeah, so next up is 70 drum hits. Now because these were taken straight out of my tracks, and guys, I did not hold back when it come to when it come to giving you guys stuff out of my tracks. I mean, I've put stuff in this pack out of tracks that I haven't even got signed yet, tracks that I've got sitting on my computer, maybe not even quite finished, you know. So you've got a lot of stuff in here and you've got a lot of sounds, but because I took them straight out of the tracks and bounced them, I couldn't bring them all back down to C, because they just wouldn't sound right. You know, if I had a kick in F, to bring it down to C, it'd be too low. So what I've done with this is I've key labeled them, and I've labeled them for the BPM, so you know exactly where you're at when you're dropping these in. And again, this is just the one shots that we're on for the minute. So the sounds, which would be like synth sounds, again, I've done these all at 127 in C. So they are taken, I've taken as much as I can, where I've still had the MIDI in there and the synth, and I haven't bounced it out, and then probably just lost like the preset I had, or the sound I made. But I took as much as I could, and I just printed a long note at 127 in C, so you guys can just drop it in the sampler, so you can play your own riffs with that. And then the effects hits would have been really too much trouble, and wouldn't really have worked if I'd done in C. So the effects hits again are all key labeled and BPM labeled in the pack. Moving on to the loops, again, I've bounced these out, so you've got kick loops, hat loops. Once we get into the second video, I'm going to see if you want to sit through that. It's going to be quite a long video, that one, but I'm going to go sort of into like constructing a track and show you guys how easy it is. And this is probably something for the less advanced producers, you know, the guys that haven't been doing it so long, but you know, it might be useful. I'll let you guys decide. I don't mean to be patronizing on anyone that like knows their stuff. I'm just trying to do something to help, and when I decided to do the pack, I wanted to do a pack that just really helps people just construct stuff, and gain maybe some knowledge and some workflow, etc. So yeah, moving on. Again, the sound loops, they're taken straight out of tracks. I've just labelled them with the key and the BPM. And then drum loops, like I was saying a minute ago, you guys you've got 14, 1 to 14 is kick loops, 15 to 30 is open hat loops, so on and so on. You guys can read this and see what's there. You've got like a couple of bits that I've just called extra. I've just put like one snare roll, so if you guys can't be bothered or don't want to make a snare roll, there's one in there that you can just use. There's a couple of little extra bits dotted here and there. You've got top loops, glitch loops. The reason I've done this, because this is all in the same folder, so If you're in that folder and you're like, oh, I quickly just want a hat loop, you can just refer to this. You can have this on your desktop, and you know that 15 to 30 in that folder, which I'll bring up the folder in a minute. Basically that's going to be hat loops. That they're labeled in there as well, but maybe if you've opened this up in Ableton, like I use Ableton as a rewire, and I want a open hat loop, I know where to go. Again, it's about speed, really. I'm just going to bring this over. So this is how it's set up. This is the pack here. You've got the one shots here, so you've got the bass one shots all there. Drum one shots is obviously a longer one. Sound one shots, shorter again. This OS, it stands for one shot, so you know where you are when you're in a pack as well. And the up and down effects, so yeah, you guys should be able to work it out from there, and I'll do a second video on this. Again, you've got the loops, you've got drum loops that are all various, but they are labelled here as well to tell you what's where. You've then got the sound loops. Then, going back, I've just got extra here, and I don't know if we've done this on the artwork, but there's a long noise and a long sustained key. I use them. They're very useful for breaks. So basically, this noise is just all the same. It's just noise. But I've printed it long, so you can drop it into your break and you can filter it. I purposely went and got just a noise plugin that just generated noise just to use in my breaks for a little while. Once I'd done an update on the computer, that didn't work anymore, but it's just as easy with this WAV file, just to drop it in, and you can basically cut it off where you want to, filter it, bring the noise, bring the level up, just to create the noise that you want in your breaks. I just find that a useful tool, and I often use a sustain key just to cause tension in my breaks. Again, this will be printed in C, so you can pitch it up, pitch it down. But yeah, we'll get into that more on the second video. I don't want to drag this video out. It's really just an introduction to the pack. So the last thing I want to go over in this, I'm going to get rid of the artwork now. And I'm going to pull up a project. And the reason I'm doing this, I just want to demonstrate a couple of small things here. So I'm going to go to, if I've got Splice open on my other screen, so I'm just going to pull it over, and this is the first thing in my Splice, and I'm just going to drag, and this is a pack that I've just downloaded some bits. I'm just going to demonstrate something, and no offense to the guys that done this. I did just test this out before I started the video. But you see, when you drop this in, and this is a thing that I find really unhelpful with packs. So yeah, that could have been there, i.e. that could have been printed, so it's supposed to finish there, and I can press, is it Option Shift and shorten that so it falls bang on, excuse me, which is fine. But if we go, and I've got rid of it now, let me get this, sorry guys, as I said, you have to bear with me, I'm not really used to doing this kind of thing. So let me just go back to my pack. Yeah, one shots. I want drum one shots, kick. Right. So let me drop my kick in. Yeah, I know that the two good things about this is I know that it's 127. So if I was in 125, it's gonna fall short. But I know that it's there. But not only that, I've taken it, I've taken this, I've bounced it, so it's where the next kick, so this line here is where the next kick needs to be. If you're making house, if you're making tech house, it's standard that a kick is a 1 in 4. They call it four to the floor, and it's going to go there. So I quickly know where my next kick goes. If I'm like in the screen here, I could be going, oh, the next one's there, like print that across there. Oh well, it actually is, which is pretty obvious. But if I was in, I might have done that, and then as I zoomed out, realised they were in the wrong place. So that's a helpful thing, anyway. But the second helpful thing is whenever you get a sample pack, most guys that do sample packs, I find it really unhelpful that you can see this is pushed. Basically, it's not so bad because I did test this out and this kick isn't clipping. Now I'm just going to play this kick, put it where it's supposed to be, and play this kick over. Now you can see here this kick is minus over here, yeah. You can see it's coming up at -4, which is already hitting orange. You'll find with a lot of samples will be blowing over. But the first thing I need to do before I do anything is turn this down. And turning it down here, if you've got to go down a lot, the lower down you go, the less sensitive this becomes, so the less accurate your leveling is going to be. So the first thing I would do is come across here, and up here you've got the gain, which just turns the waveform down. But if I undo that, if I just put that back to 0, I think, yeah, you guys can see how much this is pushed. And to be fair, this one isn't clipping, so it's not going to cause an issue for you to just turn down. The reason that they do this with sample packs is to make everything as loud as possible, because, you know, if you play one against the other and one's louder, it tends to sound better, even though I'm not going to get into the whole loudness thing. But even though it doesn't necessarily, unless you're comparing something at the same level, which obviously if you're going through Splice, you know, you play the next kick along, it's quieter, it's not going to sound as good, you're less likely to buy it. But the fact of the matter is that it is a waste of time, because I've got to instantly turn this down. Not to say that you're not going to have to turn my kicks down, any of my samples, but go into my samples, come across here, let's lay this one out. This is landing at -6. Every sample that I've bounced in this, I've taken the time to go through. This pack took me ages, but everything is at -6. And that's peak value. You might have one that's out, so don't shoot me down if you get one at 5.9. But anyway, guys, that's I think that's as much as I wanted to go through in this video. If you're unsure, I'm going to do the support video, which I think we'll probably give away free anyway, so you can watch that before you buy the pack. But yeah, I mean, that's it. I've done this pack not just to make money. It took me a hell of a lot longer to do the way that I've done it, but I've really thought about what I want to demonstrate for you guys and how I want to be helpful. I mean, this has been inspired from James Wilkshire, who runs F9 Audio. Whenever I bought samples from them, there was always like the support, and everything was really so well thought out that, you know, I wanted to do something similar for my pack. I don't see it often enough. I think a lot of people are just lazy and they just want to get a pack out and make money from it. But if you can get value at the same time, that's great, and it's worth doing. So yeah, thanks guys. I am going to shut this down, and I'll see you in the next video.